Welcome to Learning to Trust with Scott and Becky Quinlan. Our desire is to discuss topics such as marriage, infidelity, forgiveness, our relationship with God, and our journey to find our true identities. Today, we take you on a radical journey of trust. This journey took us to 3 states in 4 years. Come along as we share our lessons learned along the way. Thank you for joining us, and here we go.
All right, welcome back to Learning2Trust with Scott and Becky. We are on a journey ourselves here, trying to get our story out in a reasonable amount of episodes. We thought it'd be 2, 3. I think we're on 4 now. I don't know.
3. We're on 3 now.
See? Well, this is since we were saved, so I don't know.
Okay, never mind.
It's debatable, but we are throwing out 30-minute chunks way easier than we thought we could. So, yeah. Still, we don't have a whole lot of notes. We got a little bit here, but this is all just organic, reliving this, and
yeah,
I'm really enjoying it. Like,
I am too.
We're doing back-to-back sessions, so
I don't know.
It's
just good to relive things. Some things were hard, but when you go back and look at the past with a new lens of understanding, gosh, it's just amazing.
Yeah, just how faithful God's been during our journey, and miracles and relationships and stuff we learned, and
the people that God has sent. And I know we haven't really gotten into individuals, and that's kind of on purpose, I think. But so many people along the way were there right when we needed it, to encourage us, to teach us something new, to put us in the right direction. Like, what is your favorite? Is it Proverbs 16:9? Is that what it is?
A man plans with his heart, but the Lord determines his steps.
And our whole story was just us kind of going where we felt led to go, but God just kind of veering us left, right, center.
It's almost like bumper bowling, like we get off track, but God's kind of keeping us on a narrow path,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good way to put it.
So I guess we just left off. We're in Florida still.
In Florida.
We just
living in our little 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom.
Yep. So my desire to become a pastor fell away. We've been just trained on discipleship. At this point, we started doing house church, and we're being discipled by Damien and Cheryl, and we're growing. So now we're
doing
2
churches
groups pouring into us. We've got our brick and mortar church pouring into us, and then we got our house church network pouring into us.
Yeah.
And
this was our life. Like we were, it was like Wednesday night this, Thursday night this, Sunday night or Sunday and Sunday night. Like we were fully immersed in both our, the brick and mortar church, and also hosting our home church inside our home. And then going to regional events in the home church network.
Yep.
Like this was, man, we were just learning.
It's hard to quantify how much we grew in that year. I mean, it's hard to even quantify it, because I just know that God met every need, spiritually, physically, emotionally,
financially.
Yeah, financially.
Like everything.
Yeah, everything was just clicking, and everything was good. I mean, we're still living in a very poor neighborhood. We didn't have a lot of money, but we had what we needed.
We did.
Yeah.
And we were learning. I mean, not just the Bible, but I was teaching a Christian curriculum for homeschool, and I was learning right alongside the kids just about history, and that the history we get in public school is not necessarily the history that really existed. So I was learning as I went, and the kids were learning. I will speak to this because sometimes, we highlight the really great things.
Yeah.
I will speak to this, and I don't think our kids would have the same view of our time in Florida.
Being nomads, moving all the time, pluck them out of school with their friends in Kansas City.
Yes.
Going from having their own bedrooms, and I think the one house each had their own bathroom, more or less, and to now sharing a room.
All 3 in one room. Yeah.
Sharing a bathroom with 5 people.
Oh, that's fun.
So we had, yes, I would. They probably didn't understand either. Like that
They
was
didn't.
probably the biggest
You know,
thing.
our days together were amazing, and Scott would come home from work, and there was always something I felt like we were doing. But they were feeling really isolated at this point
Yeah.
because although we Scott and I really enjoyed our neighborhood, it was not a safe neighborhood. Like, we had to be careful. We never had a problem on our property, but all around us, gunshots, not nightly, but
Multiple times we lived there. Yeah.
multiple times that we lived there, there were gunshots. There was a murder that was just a block away from us in a establishment. Um, it was a rough place. A lot of drugs in and out of there. Our neighbors were addicts that we tried to help. It was a very dark place, and I like to think that we were the light on the corner in this dark neighborhood. And so we didn't let them go outside on their own. If we were out there with them, they could go out, ride bikes, and do
Yeah,
all that
there's not a
stuff.
lot of kids
But
in our church. There were no kids their age in our
no,
neighborhood, especially the girls. Brady had no problem. There was all kinds of boys he's riding bikes and hanging out with and playing guns, but
yeah.
the girls really had nobody.
And there
Yeah.
was the Anna probably puts it best. What did she say? Florida is a place for
Newlyweds and nearly deads.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, sorry for that. If anybody fits in that category that's in Florida, but we were feeling there were not many families in our area, especially families that were homeschooling at that point. Now, if you went north about 45 minutes to an hour, you know, there were people there, and we did try a homeschool co-op. But I always say this because we were saved later in life. We're a little too thuggish for certain Christians, and then we're too Christians for our non-Christian friends. Like, so we were just in this weird place where we felt like we didn't fit in anywhere. And I felt it. I know the kids felt it. They were really loved by everyone in our home church and in our other church, but they really didn't have many opportunities. And they felt isolated. And so as we got more into home church, we were really learning how to share the gospel. We were prayer walking in our neighborhoods. We were doing a lot of really cool things. We started to get more involved with the group in Tampa.
Yeah. So yeah, we in fact we felt we were being called to do ministry there in North Tampa. And so
we were going to be full-time missionaries in Tampa.
Yeah. So we actually gone as far as I told my boss I was going to quit, and we were I had a pretty key position in a small company, so it wasn't like I was going to give him 2 weeks notice. Like it would have been devastating for him. So, so yeah, we started planning that out. We were going to go live in North Tampa, this place called Suitcase City, and that's where all the immigrants and refugees literally showed up. The area with suitcase. That's all they had. So this group, One Body Church, had a presence in this apartment complex. There's like 26 nations represented at the time. They had bought this vacant lot across an apartment complex, and they cleared it out, and they put in a basketball court. They put in a little soccer field. Later on, they started doing hydroponics and stuff, and started doing sports ministry, both soccer and basketball, but also they had a little gym not too far from there that they shared with somebody else or something, and do like weightlifting and stuff. And they had the teenage kids had like their student council for the area, and they put together and did events and like basketball tournaments and stuff, and weekly meetings and arts and stuff. Yeah, they had a lot of really good, just loving neighbors to the fullest. I mean, it was a really good example of
just stepping into life.
Christ-centered community transformation is really what it was. That was the heart of it. And that's what the goal was. But that was what was going on there. And so our role was to be, I was help with sports ministry. I was supposed to help with vocational training and stuff, and help build a community center on that property. And whatever else. And Becky was supposed to start like a kind of like a Christian homeschool with just a few kids. There's a few kids that were identified that were really getting left behind in the school system, mostly because of lack of English. But so yeah, there was a really good vision, and we were kind of the next steps in that vision, I guess. So yeah, we started the transition.
Yeah, we
Uh,
started. We had paperwork in hand to sign on with the
yeah,
mission board. We were almost
we
there,
were getting ready to sell our house.
but
Yeah,
yes, and we were getting ready to sell our house. I
that was kind
just,
of a cool story too.
well, we're not quite there yet.
Okay.
I just remember, like the kids, I think Brady and Emma were on
Yeah.
board, but Anna had a lot of fear
Yeah.
and anxieties starting to
Yeah.
build up. And I don't want to tell her story, but she really was not on board
Yeah.
with that.
Yep.
And I remember someone telling us that God would either bring us all together and have us on the same page about this transition, or he would provide something else.
Yeah.
And so we just really prayed for direction. We prayed for the Lord to tell us, we felt like this was what we were going to do, right? And we prayed about it.
Yep.
But we also prayed for Anna in this because we didn't want to put her in a place that was going to cause her to be anxious and scared every day. Like I prayed hard about that because she really was just,
So I guess we were just kind of, I guess to summarize, we were still moving forward in faith,
right?
But Anna was kind of dragging an anchor, which was fine at the time. We were just kind of still feeling things out, and nothing had been set in stone. We had our house in the market. That was a kind of cool story because I felt like the realtor was saying one thing, but I was like, man, I know this is the price we're supposed to list our house for.
Yeah.
Which the first time was a debacle because I got greedy, and the realtor helped me get greedy, and we listed it for way more than it was worth. And in a hot market, and once it sits, it's damaged goods. Anyways, so this time I was like, no, I feel like this is the price.
This is the number.
This is the number.
It was a very specific number you were given.
Very specific. Yeah. And so we listed it for that. I think someone gave us tickets to Disney World or something at church.
Yeah.
And we went to Disney World and we
Mm-hmm.
were sitting there, and realtor called. First day was on the market and sold for that price. Exactly. No negotiating. Boom. Here's the price. Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it was this affirmation. That's a little more affirmation that we're on the right path of at least moving. I don't know about moving to Suitcase City, North Tampa.
Yeah.
So household, I was exiting my job. We were starting to strategize on raising funds.
Yes.
And so I remember this story distinctly. We were at a Hillsong United concert in Tampa. And we got there kind of pretty early, and they had some vendors set up. And we got a water or something, and we were standing around talking. And we were talking about our trip. And so
we were going to do a fundraising trip.
Yeah. And we were going to go back to Illinois and Kansas City and stuff. And we had some good neighbors Becky was close with her, and the boys were close. We were kind of close. And they live across the street from us in Kansas City. But they now live in Oklahoma City. Like, oh, let's go to Oklahoma City and see them. And when we looked, it's like, oh, it's like 4.5 hours. That's 9 hours round trip to go see one person
for one family.
That's out of the question. We can't do that. So they're on our list, but we'll have to call them or do a video call or something. So anyways, we're sitting there planning our trip, and about an hour into the concert, I get a call from that person. And he's like, hey, we're going to be at, so-and-so on vacation here, like in 3 weeks. Is that close to you guys? I'm like, yeah, it's like a 30-minute drive over the bridge.
Yeah.
And so I don't think we were just finishing the paperwork for the ministry, for being a missionary. It's just ministry. And we go down there, and the kids are playing, we're hanging out. We go walk on the beach after we have some dinner, and we're getting the courage. These are the first people we're going to ask to support us, like on a monthly basis. And as we're getting the courage to say something, like, we know what you're about ready to ask. We know what path you're headed on, but we've been praying about something ourselves. And we're like, what?
Yeah.
And so then they're like, we're getting ready to buy a barbecue restaurant, and we've been praying about it, and we want you guys to come run it in Oklahoma City. And we're like, what?
Yeah.
Okay. And they're like, well, we don't just want you to come run it. We want to give you the restaurant and have it be part of your ministry. And we're like, okay, double what? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like we didn't know what to say. Like we're like, okay. And
And
so,
maybe our audience doesn't know, but this guy right here is like barbecue is part of his life.
yeah,
And so combining Jesus and barbecue, like that was
yeah.
like what wait,
So
this could be a
at
thing,
that point,
you
probably been
know?
doing it for a decade. Designed and built 4 smokers, sold several,
Yeah.
done a lot of catering, did a lot of, just love cooking barbecue for people. Did a few competitions.
I think the order
Yeah.
goes Jesus, family, Chiefs and barbecue. I don't know about this. I mean, maybe barbecue Chiefs.
I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. But anyway, those are the four loves of Scott's life.
Yeah. There's other stuff. But yeah,
I know there's other stuff,
but yeah, I do like cooking barbecue. I have a brisket and some ribs in the cooler right now, getting ready to get cooked up, and I've been making my own sausage now. So yeah.
okay.
So we said, all right, we appreciate the offer. That is not the direction we thought we were headed.
Not
Let
at
us
all.
go pray about it. So we prayed about it for a week or 2 weeks.
It was a little while.
It was a while.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing though was back to Anna. That was kind of key. Me bringing it up because I think she was on board with this, but not so much.
Yeah.
Um,
They were ready
Not so
to
much,
exit Florida.
yeah,
They were.
yeah. So this would be Oklahoma City. It was North Oklahoma City, and we eventually said yeah. And so
We got confirmations from the Lord just through prayer.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of
Yeah,
things on the way. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was a franchise, though. It was a Dickey's barbecue pit. And trying to figure out how to tell this story succinctly. So we decided
So
we
that was
sold the house. We basically got double what we paid for it. So that was God's very
huge blessing.
Blessing there.
So timeline's sake, this was August of 2019.
Yep. So I had to go to Dallas for 3 weeks for corporate training with the franchise.
Yeah.
Made some good connections there, especially with their chef, who actually designed and built his own smokers too. The corporate chef. And then we get to Oklahoma and we end up buying a house. We buy this house, we get a little settled, and then we kind of wait. The paperwork was a holdup, right? The lawyers, the paperwork, the franchise, the 500-page franchise agreement, the lease, just all the agreements that it took. And I wasn't really privy to this. The only thing that kind of did change from when we started conversation with a restaurant, and between the time there and the time I got done with training, we were in a month or so in Oklahoma. It went to, well, I'm buying the rights to the state of Oklahoma, and you're going to start this restaurant, but we're going to build out multiple restaurants. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that sounds kind of cool to me because I like building stuff. So, I wasn't like a big red flag at the time, but it was, different. So we're just abiding, and I mean, August becomes September becomes October comes November, and I never once pressured, like, hey, as long as it takes to get this done, let's get it done right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like we pressured on our side. We were, supportive. We were good.
Mm-hmm.
So then mid-November, we finally start. Our restaurant opens. And it's exciting. And we immediately already had some people from I guess the other thing that happened during that meantime, I guess, is while we're there, it wasn't One Body Church, but it was, I can't think of
No place left.
No place left. And so we get plugged in with a sister disciple making network in Oklahoma City. We plug right in. And we are,
in fact, the day we pulled in, one of the families in that network met us there. We set up a table and we broke bread together for the first time, and they had food for us. And it was just amazing to all of a sudden just have a brother and sister in Christ and their kids. And we were sitting around a table in our new living room, and they helped us move in. And it was just like right off the bat, like we never skipped a beat. We just had a family there already. It was amazing.
Yeah, that was very comforting. so we, in fact, we started hosting regional gatherings at our house. We had a decent house there, and we started hosting the regional gatherings once a month, and we were doing training, and we were part of the leadership team, kind of, and yeah, we just dove right in. In fact, crazy enough, somebody who lived in Suitcase City in North Tampa, there with One Body Church, now just moved to Oklahoma the same time we did.
Yep.
And so we had commonality there. Like, we both knew and worked with the same exact people. Our paths never crossed in Florida, but yeah, so it was pretty crazy, like how plugged in we were so quickly, and how really good things were going from like a spiritual church network.
Oh, we were
kids,
still growing like crazy.
Homeschooling the kids, like there was like everybody homeschooled there. It was crazy. And so there was volleyball leagues on Fridays at noon where there's 14 courts full of kids playing volleyball, and twice or three times as many teams sitting there waiting for their turn to play next. It was insane, the amount of the difference between Florida
we moved from
and Oklahoma.
Illinois to Kansas to Florida, and now we're in Oklahoma. And you talk about it, now we're in the Bible Belt.
Yeah, the buckle.
The buckle of the Bible. Well, I don't know. There's many buckles that are claimed out there.
I know, but from our experience, that's the buckle.
So we went from Florida, who nobody talked about their faith because there were people from all over the world that lived in Florida, right? In Oklahoma, we're in the Bible Belt, and everybody talked. That was like the first thing you asked is, what church do you go to?
Yeah.
So we were dealing with a whole different issue of people who thought that they were believers in Jesus, but just either had an affiliation with the church or their family claimed to be Christians, but maybe they hadn't had like a full encounter with Jesus. Yeah. It wasn't a personal relationship. So we were in a whole different world, but
we met a lot of people
because of this, all of it, the homeschool network down there was amazing. There was music, there was chorus, there was sports, there was clubs, so our kids went from being completely isolated to now Anna was running what she was doing, she was running.
That's Kansas City. Girls in the Room was Kansas City.
No.
Did she run
Didn't
there
she
too?
go to track? Well, anyway, I'm getting our states confused. But Emma was doing volleyball, and Brady was playing baseball, and I know Anna was in track. She was running or cross country or something. I think that was her first start there. And then, we were just plugged in to groups there, and it was really cool.
Yeah, so a couple people in the group we had met, kind of fringe members group, but she worked at a barbecue restaurant. We already had a couple employees actually lined up to start when we started. So we started and we got off to a good start. And a whole bunch of people came and prayed over the building the first morning.
That was really cool.
Yep, a whole bunch of people, like 30 people. It was pretty crazy.
And we started off crazy. Like the business wasn't doing that great, especially in the area of like caterings.
Yeah.
And so I was reading in my journal, and after we started, I just remember seeing stats in my journal about catering was up 30%, catering was up 40%. Like the Lord was blessing that and really giving you wisdom in how to run this place. And we were hiring second chance people, so people who had been maybe caught a felony and were trying to better themselves. And so we were
work release program is in prison. Yeah,
she was in prison. So we would literally, when her shift was over, we would drop her off at the women's prison. We were side by side discipling people daily, just stepping into their lives, praying for them. Like it was really cool. It was hard. I mean, we got stolen from, we got we got no call, no showed a lot. There was a lot. It was a learning curve for people, but
restaurants are crazy,
so, and it was difficult with long hours, but we were doing really, really good work there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just remember first or second week of January. So the first 6 weeks were great. We crushed it in December of catering. It was unreal. So then I just remember my partner coming in, and he sat me down at the table and I got to talk to you, and he said, well, my lawyer and our lawyer can't come to terms. I gave them the money, but we didn't have a full agreement, and that was news to me. I did not know that at the time. And I'm trying to figure out what to do, if I'm going to sue them or what. But basically, the the train was coming off the track pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I had no control, insight, or anything into that. I didn't know this was going on. I was not privy to all the information. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of, the first crack in the windshield, I guess, a little chip in the windshield. And it just I guess you see a dam starting to crack and you get a little leak there. So then as the next few weeks went on, more and more information came out and learned more. And then, things started getting, I don't even know where to go with this. Things started getting tense and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, we try to be very careful when we're talking on this podcast about telling our side, our part of the story. And we don't want to get into too many details on things that happen. So just know that things were maybe not set up properly, and now this was all coming to a head. It was news to us, and we had not taken any money. We were still living off of our savings from when we sold the house in Florida. Yep. And we were down again to $165 in our account.
So things started. So, it didn't really feel like a partnership from the beginning because I think a lot of the information and choices and decisions were coming one way, and there was some joint stuff. Kind of the fact that we went from one restaurant to a franchise agreement. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things there that kind of weren't necessarily red flags at the time. Looking back, maybe it should have been. I don't know. It's hindsight's 2020. Anyway, so things started happening. And then all of a sudden, the landlord comes in and wants us to sign a 7-year lease. And the Dickies is calling me up, wanting me to sign a 500-page 10-year franchise agreement. And the bank's calling, wanting to sign paperwork. And we started looking at the paperwork, this is a loan, loan application. This isn't like a background check or something. This loan would now be on us that my business partner took out. It wasn't in our name at all. Yeah. And so there's just more red flags coming up, and we were down. This part of the story too is a little if the people that we're talking about watch this, they would probably wouldn't know. They might know some of this, but they wouldn't know all of it. But it's what happened, so it's the truth. We were down to $165. We had just met with them the night before. The meeting did not go well. Mm-hmm. Did not go well. And the next morning, I'm kind of looking but here's the thing. We panicked when our house wouldn't sell.
Way back in
Florida. Yeah. And we're cutting down to our last dollars. We can't, the stress, the fear, the panic.
Yeah.
Bad. We didn't trust at all.
No.
This time we just kind of kept trusting. We're
we knew
God's going to provide for us.
There was something happening. We were to the point where we trusted God enough to say, okay, we know we only have $165 in our account, but something will happen. So we trusted in that, and we trusted that everything would be resolved. And I remember, there are times in your life when you're in distress. Our response now had become, we take this to the Lord. Yeah. And I remember being on my knees praying about this situation because it was tough. These were our, these are friends that we loved, and and this whole time was hurtful, for us and for them. And so I just remember going to the Lord, asking for his guidance, asking for his wisdom. And literally he would give me, and I have it all written down in my journal. He would give me verses to read in the Bible. This is what I'm doing. I have to do this. This has to happen. And you are my instruments in this. And it'll be painful, but it is going to put people where they need to be. And I remember getting that reassurance from the Lord through his word that sometimes we are used in difficult situations to exactly that, put people where they need to be, where he wants them to be, maybe not where they want to be, but where he needs them to be. Yeah. And so I just remember getting this very clearly. And so we felt like we were absolutely trusting 100% in what the Lord was going to do. And
so that morning where I probably got the screenshot somewhere. I can go back and screenshot it. I remember Mark coming into the restaurant that day and working from the restaurant, and we just talked. I showed him before and after. It's crazy. Anyways, um, we I talked to my contact at Dickies, my corporate contact there, and this kind of told me some things are going on. I wasn't descript everything. He's like, hey, let me call you back in 20 minutes. Well, 20 minutes later, Roland Dickey Jr., the son who runs now the CEO of all their companies, and they have like at the time they had 515 franchises, I think. Most of them are privately owned, not corporate owned, but they have a lot of corporate owned stores too. And so he calls me up and he tells me what's going on and he explains a lot of things and kind of put the other pieces of puzzle together that we didn't know, right?
Yeah.
The missing pieces of the puzzle. And he's like, man, I really hate what you've been going through and I'm sorry. And we love the way you represented our brand and our company. And I'm just going to give you $5,000 right now. I'm like, what?
Like our jaws hit the floor.
Yeah. You weren't even there.
I wasn't even there.
You were at
I
home.
just remember you calling me. I think you were crying on the phone.
Yeah, probably was.
It was just, I mean.
Yeah. So not only that, did he wire? It was going to ACH it, but that was not gotten done until Monday. So he wired it to our account. We had it by noon. He also was supposed to fly out Monday morning on a business trip. He canceled his business trip. He said, you guys are going to drive down here Monday afternoon. We're going to meet at 1:00. You're going to meet with me and then meet with some other people. So it was both of us. It wasn't just me. It was me and Becky. So we go there to Dallas. We meet with some people, kind of interview. We then he takes us in his personal car and drives us and gives us a personal tour of where they make the sausages, the rubs, the pellets, the furniture, and all this stuff. And he's like, hey, we want you maybe to move down here and start helping run and build our own custom designed smokers to sell and to put in the restaurants. And I can attest, the ones we had were not good. So so that was being talked about, and then he and his wife took us out to dinner.
Oh my goodness.
And then they put us up in this hotel.
No, at dinner though, we shared our testimony.
Yeah, we did. We shared our testimony.
We shared our testimony and the gospel with them, and it was just a really sweet time. I don't know, it was really cool.
And so yeah, they took us out to dinner, and then they put us in a hotel. It was like not even a suite. It had a 12-person kitchen table. Like it was gigantic.
Have you ever seen in a movie where somebody opens the door to the hotel room and they're like, ah, and you walk in and you're like, look at this, look at this, look at this. I mean, this is the kind of place that we.
It wasn't like Home Alone 2 with the big staircase or anything, but it was a big hotel room.
It was beautiful.
4 or 5 rooms. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And so here, this isn't meant to like, but the contrast there was the partner that I originally partnered with. The whole time I was in Oklahoma from August until January, I had scheduled multiple times to meet face to face to talk about stuff. And every time it got canceled. Not one time did we meet with the intention of only talking about business. The one time they did come to our house for dinner and we were trying to talk business over the kids crying and getting ready for bed. Like it was a train wreck. You have to have intentionality. And I felt like that never did happen. And just looking at what happened, like this guy who doesn't even know me, showing such generosity and really love for us and concern, it was pretty crazy. So the next day they offered us a job, so I was to be the regional manager of Oklahoma, and then I'm not sure what the dates were, but it wasn't too long after that, and COVID hit. And when COVID hit, it was crazy. Immediately got 25% chopped off my salary, and
we can no longer run things the way we were running them.
Yes, now it was a corporate store because in the meantime, the owner defaulted on everything, and it went back to being a corporate store. Like the second that happens, it's unreal. Like what happens in a matter of a few minutes.
But we went from being able to hire certain people to now everybody had to be background checked and this and that, and so our ministry just was no longer what we were there for. So we really and COVID hit and things were starting to get crazy, and
so we just kind of woke up one day we're like, this isn't what we came here for. We came here to have a ministry, and our ministry was kind of taken away, and this is.
And we felt like that chapter was just being closed.
The
completely.
thing of going to Dallas, that was all off the table. Like all those talks stopped.
Yeah,
like
COVID
going
just
and
ruined,
running
yeah,
that.
just stopped all that.
So we kind of woke up. It's like, yeah, it's time to go back home. As much as we didn't want to go back home, we decided it's time to go back home.
Yep.
And just remember, so maybe we should start with that next. It's kind of time. So
I knew we'd do a part 4. There was no way we were going to get
it's part 2B of 2.
Just say 4.
It's part 3 of many more to come, I guess.
Yes. To be continued.
Yes.
We'll just do it that way. So.
All right. God bless.
God
Thank
bless.
you.
Thanks for tuning in.
All right.
Thank you so much for joining us. Please check back in for the conclusion of this series, where we've been talking about this crazy journey that we went on. Please like, share, and subscribe to help our ministry reach those in need. And as always, give us a shout out if you want to talk, have a question, or just need a little help. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you. God bless. See you next time.